Before history turned into ruins. Before fire rained from the sky. Before a civilization became a warning for all generations. The Torah, in the book of Genesis, speaks of cities filled with wickedness so severe that their cries reached the heavens. The Bible describes Sodom and Gomorrah as places where sin was not hidden but celebrated openly in the streets. The Quran tells us of a prophet sent to a people committing an act no nation had done before, a corruption so deep that it poisoned every layer of society. That prophet was Lut a.s. a man sent not to kings, not to warriors, but to monsters of morality. And he stood alone. And friends, before we dive deep into this powerful story, if you appreciate cinematic storytelling that uncovers forgotten truths of history and faith, gently connect with our channel. Your support helps these stories reach more hearts around the world. Imagine being surrounded by thousands, yet feeling more alone than a man lost in the desert. Imagine standing in a city where evil was not whispered, it was shouted. Where shame was not hidden, it was proudly displayed. Where wrong was no longer wrong, it was the new normal. This was the world of Lut a.s. Not a small sinful group. Not a few criminals hiding in the shadows. This was an entire society drowning in corruption. Men abandoning women. Families breaking apart. Desires ruling over conscience. Violence replacing compassion. Mockery replacing humility. The Quran paints a haunting picture. They approached men with desire instead of women. Nay, you were a transgressing people. But what hurts even more, they knew it was wrong. And still they loved it. The mission no one wanted. Lut a.s. did not choose this people. Allah chose him for them. He was sent into the heart of darkness. Every prophet faced resistance. But Lut a.s. faced something worse. Total moral collapse. He walked through streets where sin was entertainment. He knocked on doors where corruption lived openly. He spoke in gatherings where laughter followed every warning. And yet, he never stopped. Day after day, night after night, in private and in public. His voice echoed, "O my people, fear God. Do not commit this shameful act. There has never been a nation before you who did this." But instead of reflection, they mocked. Instead of repentance, they threatened. Instead of listening, they laughed. From advice to ridicule, at first, they treated him like a joke. Here comes the holy man again. Oh look, the preacher of purity. Does he think he can change us? Children pointed at him. Men mocked him. Leaders dismissed him. But Lut a.s. continued with patience. Because prophets don't measure success by numbers. They measure it by obedience. Every word he spoke was filled with pain. Not anger. Pain. Because he knew what was coming. He could see the destruction forming slowly like storm clouds gathering in the sky. Yet his people danced under those clouds. The threats begin. When mockery failed, they moved to intimidation. The leaders of the city gathered, not to discuss reform, but to silence Lut a.s. They said, "Expel Lut and his followers from your town. They are people who want to remain pure." Purity had become an insult. Morality had become a crime. Righteousness had become dangerous. Can you imagine? A society so twisted that being clean was seen as evil. Lut a.s. was no longer just a preacher. He was now a threat to their lifestyle. And corrupt societies always attack those who remind them of truth. The psychological war on a lone prophet. This was not just physical danger. It was emotional torture. Picture this. You warn people you love. They laugh at you. You beg them to change. They threaten you. You cry in prayer at night. And in the morning, you see them sink deeper into sin. Lut A.S. watched families destroy themselves. He watched young boys corrupted. He watched violence rise. He watched hearts turn cold. And the worst part, no one believed him, except a few. Even his own wife was not truly with him. She lived among the believers, but her heart was with the corrupt. Imagine the loneliness of a prophet whose own home was divided. When hope feels like it's dying, there comes a moment in every struggle. When the soul feels heavy, when tears fall in sujud, when you whisper, "My Lord, I have done everything I can." Lut A.S. reached that moment. He cried out, "My Lord, help me against this corrupt people." Not because he wanted destruction, but because he saw no repentance. No turning back. The disease had spread too far. This society was no longer sick. It was dead, spiritually dead. And when hearts die, punishment is not far. But something incredible was about to happen. Visitors would arrive, not ordinary travelers, not men from another town, but angels sent from the heavens, disguised as handsome young men. And the reaction of the city would expose just how deep their corruption had become, leading to a night that would change history forever. The sun was beginning to set over the cities of the valley. Long shadows stretched across streets that had witnessed decades of corruption. It was in this quiet moment that the visitors arrived. 3 men, young, strikingly handsome, travelers, it seemed. But they were not ordinary men. They were angels sent by Allah, disguised in human form, sent not just to announce destruction, but to expose the final sickness of this society. The fear in Lut's heart. When Lut A.S. saw them approaching his home, his heart dropped, not with joy, with fear. He knew his people. He knew what they did to strangers, especially young men. The Quran captures his pain. This is a difficult day. He welcomed them quickly, nervously, trying to hide them, trying to protect them, trying to keep them safe from the monsters outside. He did not yet know they were angels. He thought they were vulnerable humans. And in that moment, the burden on his soul was unbearable. The city finds out. Sin travels fast. Someone saw the guests. Someone whispered. Someone ran. And soon, the entire city knew. Men came running from every direction. Old men, young men, even boys. Their faces burning with desire. Their hearts filled with filth. The Quran describes it clearly. They rushed toward him, rejoicing. Not to welcome, not to help, but to commit evil. A mob formed outside Lut's house, shouting, laughing, demanding, "Bring out your guests. They are ours." The same city that rejected morality, now gathered to attack innocence. A prophet's last stand. Lut A.S. stepped outside, his heart pounding, his voice shaking, but his faith unbroken. "O my people, fear God and do not disgrace me concerning my guests. Is there not among you one man of reason?" Silence. Then laughter. One man shouted, "You know we have no interest in women." Another mocked, "You already know what we want." This was not ignorance. This was rebellion. They were proud of their sin. Lut A.S. in desperation, offered even his daughters in lawful marriage, not literally forcing them, but reminding them of what was pure and permissible. But they rejected purity. They rejected marriage. They rejected Allah's boundaries. They wanted corruption only. The ultimate threat. Their tone changed. From lust to rage. "Did we not forbid you from protecting anyone? You keep acting holy. If you don't hand them over, you'll be expelled." Some scholars mention that violence was close. The mob was ready to break the door. Lut A.S. felt helpless. Imagine being surrounded by hundreds of men. knowing they could overpower you easily, knowing you can't protect your guests, knowing you are one man against a city of corruption. He cried out, "If only I had strength against you, or could take refuge in a powerful support." A prophet, wishing for strength, not for revenge, but for protection of innocence. The moment the veil was lifted, that's when everything changed. The visitors spoke, "Do not fear. We are messengers of your Lord. They will never reach you." In that instant, relief washed over Lut's angels, not men, sent by God Himself. The countdown had begun. The blindness of sin. One angel stepped forward, and with a single motion, they struck the mob. Instantly, every man outside was blinded. Not fully sightless, but disoriented, unable to see properly, grabbing walls, tripping over each other, still shouting, still trying to reach the house, still obsessed with sin, even after a miracle, even after punishment, even after a sign. Their hearts were so corrupt that even blindness didn't stop their desire. This is what happens when sin takes over completely. Signs no longer matter. Warnings no longer work. The soul becomes a prisoner of evil. The final command, the angels turn to Lut's. Leave with your family in the last part of the night. Do not let anyone look back, except your wife, for she will be among those who remain. The words were heavy. His wife, the one who lived with him, the one who heard his warnings, would not be saved, because her loyalty was with the corrupt, not with truth. Lut's gathered the believers quietly. A small group, very small, compared to the city, and they walked away in the darkness. Behind them, a civilization was breathing its last moments. Above them, the sky was preparing a punishment unlike anything before. The night was unusually still. No laughter echoed through the streets. No music of corruption filled the air. It was as if the entire valley was holding its breath. Lut's and the few believers walked silently through the darkness, guided by the angel's command. Behind them, the cities of sin slept peacefully, unaware, unrepentant, moments away from destruction. The last look, among those walking away, was Lut's wife. Her feet moved forward, but her heart stayed behind. Behind with the parties, behind with the corrupt gatherings, behind with the sinful lifestyle she loved. And then, she looked back, not just with her eyes, but with regret for leaving sin behind. In that instant, God's decree took effect. She was struck by the punishment, becoming part of those destroyed. A painful reminder that living with a prophet does not save a soul. Only faith does. The sky opens. As dawn approached, the angels lifted the cities. Yes, lifted. The Quran describes it. We turned them upside down. Some scholars explain that the cities were raised into the sky, high enough that even angels could hear the barking of dogs, then slammed back down to the earth. Imagine buildings crashing, streets folding, mountains shaking, lives ending in seconds, a civilization erased, the rain of stones. But that was not all. From the sky came stones of hardened clay, each one marked, each one targeted, each one meant for a specific sinner. The Quran says, stones marked with your Lord, not random, not accidental, precise punishment. Every man who rushed toward sin, every leader who encouraged corruption, every soul that mocked the prophet, met the stone written for them. The valley became a grave. Smoke rose. Dust covered the sky. Silence replaced the noise of evil. When morning came, when the sun rose, there were no cities, no houses, no streets, only ruins, a dead land, where life once thrived in sin. Lut's stood at a distance. Tears in his eyes, not of victory, but of sorrow, because prophets don't enjoy destruction. They mourn lost souls, but God's justice had been served. The eternal warning, Allah didn't erase their story. He preserved it, so future generations would learn. The Quran repeats their story again and again. The Bible and Torah keep it alive. Why? Because human nature forgets. Because societies slowly drift. Because corruption often starts small and grows quietly until it becomes normal. Just like the people of Lut. First whispers, then habits, then pride, then punishment. Lessons from a lone prophet. Lut teaches us powerful truths. One person can stand against an entire society. Truth is not measured by majority. Mockery is often the weapon of corrupt people. Threats come when truth starts hurting sin. Not everyone close to you will believe. Even family can choose evil. Allah always helps His messengers. But after patience is exhausted, punishment always comes. Are we any different? This story is not just about ancient cities. It is about every society. When immorality is normalized, when wrong becomes right, when purity is mocked, when prophets' teachings are ignored, we walk the same path. The people of Lut thought punishment was impossible. They laughed at warnings. They felt untouchable. Until one night, everything ended. A final reflection. Lut stood alone. But he stood firm. Surrounded by monsters, but guided by God. Rejected by people, but honored in the heavens. His story reminds us, it is better to stand alone with truth, than to stand with millions in falsehood. And dear viewers, if these powerful stories touch your heart and awaken your soul, stay connected with our channel. Together we uncover lessons hidden in history that guide us toward a better future. If this story moved you even a little, don't keep it to yourself. Share it so others can learn. Like the video so these lessons reach more hearts. And subscribe to Son of Adam, where forgotten truths come alive through powerful storytelling.